guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. In this week's video, I'm going to be talking about something a lot of parents deal with, especially in the early months of having a new baby, and that is sleep, or really the lack thereof. Sleep deprivation is really just a fact of life as a parent, whether you have 1 or 4 kids. At some point, you probably had a severe lack of sleep. It is also ironic that I am filming this video today because last night wasn't the best when it came to sleep for me. Didn't get much of it, so it's ironic that I'm actually filming this now. But I've been talking about doing this video for you guys in terms of how Landon's sleep has affected us and how different it is to how Mason slept when he was a baby. I'm just going to be sharing some of my experience with baby sleep, especially with Landon, as he's been so different from Mason. I want to share some tips that have helped me along the way in hopes that maybe it'll help you if you are currently in the middle of struggling with a lack of sleep. So yeah, hopefully these tips will help you. I do need to give a big disclaimer. I am in no way a sleep expert or health professional. This is just my experience and what I found worked for me. If you do have like major concerns about your baby and sleep habits, then definitely talk to a pediatrician or health visitor or someone who's professional in that field. Also, I'm going to be real honest in this video. I'm probably going to say some things that you do not want to hear, because I know I didn't want to hear it when I was in the thick of our sleeping issues. But that is also why I wanted to make this video, because I actually would have really appreciated someone being, hey, honest talk, this is the deal. So I hope me being honest will help some of you guys out there, as I was hoping for something like that for me. So without further ado, let's get into it. So just to give you a little background on my experience with babies and sleep, my first son, Mason, who is 2 now, was a super easy baby when it came to sleep. I did not realize how easy he was when it came to sleep until I had my second child, Landon, who is now 6 months. With Mason, I really didn't do much in terms of sleep training. He just naturally fell into a really good routine, and yeah, he was just a super easy baby when it came to sleep. A lot of people thought that I was some sort of baby sleep whisperer because of how good he slept, and I was starting to believe that maybe I was some sort of baby sleep whisperer until Landon came along and totally schooled me in what an average baby sleep habits are like. Landon's sleep habits are pretty much the opposite of what Mason was. Well, Mason was very like easygoing, could care less, was always willing to go down. Landon's very active, he's very curious, he wants to know what's going on, so it's a lot harder to coax him to go down to sleep because he's always like, oh, what's going on? Like, I want to see this, I want to learn about this. And because I was spoiled by the way Mason was and how easy it was to just get him to go to sleep, I felt very out of my league when it came to Landon and trying to get him into a good sleep routine. So it led to a lot of troubles that we're still kind of working out now, but I feel like we are out of the real like thick of it. So to try and figure out how to work on Landon's sleep, I did what I always do when I have an issue. I researched the hell out of it. I was researching every tip and trick under the sun. I would stay up on my computer, literally just like on Google, on Reddit, on mommy forums, just like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? This isn't working. This isn't working. I tried this. I tried that. It was not a good time, to be quite honest. Basically, what we were struggling with is that he was essentially just very overtired because, again, like I was saying, he's very curious and he wants to interact and be a part of whatever we're doing, which is great. It's really fun, but you're like, kid, you also gotta sleep. So essentially he was just got really overtired. So he was constantly fighting naps. If he did go down for a nap, it was usually no more than half an hour if I was lucky. When he woke up, he was upset. Night sleep was pretty much non-existent. He was waking up every 2 hours, sometimes every hour, just upset, screaming, and it was always a fight to get him to go back down. And again, once he was back down, it was maybe 2 hours and he'd be up screaming again. So these past 2 months, I would say, I was very much a zombie and just emotionally stressed out of my mind. And it's really only been probably the past month that we've gotten back to a point where it's not 100%, still waking up 3 times a night, sometimes 2 if I'm lucky, and we still have a couple of naps here and there where it's a real fight to get him down. So we're definitely not like 100% like, oh yeah, things are great, he's sleeping fine. We're still working on it, but it has gotten a lot better since we started doing some of these things that I'm about to share with you. So now I want to share some of the tips that helped us get into a better routine and solve the issue of him being so overtired and getting some of our night sleep back. Okay, so my first tip is actually probably the only like real solution to our sleep problems, and I'm gonna say it right off the bat. If you're in the middle of struggling with sleep, you are not going to like what I'm going to say, because I know I didn't like hearing this when I was in the middle of it. But fact of the matter is, the only real solution to any kind of sleep troubles is time. Simply put, it just takes time for babies to even out. They kind of figure it out and everything just kind of falls into place. As a parent, you'll often hear that everything that your child does, especially in the early years, is just a phase. It's kind of the mommy mantra, this too shall pass. And that's very true when it comes to their sleep habit. A lot of things that you experience, especially in the early months, are just a phase, and you'll find a month, maybe 2 months down the way, that's no longer an issue. No one really likes to talk about it, but it's really just the honest truth. The solution to most sleep troubles that you may be experiencing is just time. And it sucks, I know, I'm sorry. I want to give you like an actual solution, but it really is just time. And I'm sorry that I don't have some like magic pill or baby formula that you can take or give your baby to make them sleep better. It really is just a matter of time. Now, there are things you can do to help ease the struggle and help make the time go by, but don't expect these to completely solve any sleep issues you may be having. So these are just ways to kind of help you get into a routine and help ease the struggle of lack of sleep. In all the research that I did, these are the things that I found helped me the most, and hopefully they will help you as well. Okay, first you want to be hyper aware of your baby's awake time. So most babies, especially like newborn to about I think 3 months, can only be awake for max 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you have a really like chill baby. Once you get to like 3 to 6 months, which is where Landon is, they can usually go for 2 hours, 2.5 absolute max. And that's for Landon as well. The longest he can be awake really in between like naps is around 2 hours. I can push to 2.5 hours, but he's like really like on the edge if that happens. 2 hours is really like our sweet spot. There is like that whole baby myth, like the longer you keep them up, the longer they'll sleep. That's a complete and total like myth. Don't listen to that advice. If anyone gives you that advice, no, because that leads to having an overtired baby, and an overtired baby will not sleep. I can guarantee you that because that's what happened with us. So you need to be hyper aware of the times that they're awake in between naps, and try to make sure that you get them down for their next nap before they go past their like max awake time. And it's gonna be different for every baby, like everything's different for every baby. So it's just gonna be a matter of kind of playing around with it. But like I said, on average, depending on the age of your baby. If they're like under 3 months, usually no more than an hour in between naps. If they're 3 months plus, you can do usually around 2 to 2.5 hours, and it goes up as they get older, obviously more and more wake time. Be hyper aware of the time, because for us, I would always lose track of time because, again, Landon's very curious and interactive, and so I wouldn't really notice that he'd been awake for a while because he's always like, oh, what's this, let me get into this, until he got to his breaking point and it like snap. I'm tired. But he was already like overtired. That actually goes into my next tip, which is learn your baby's sleep cues. That goes hand in hand with figuring out how long they can stay awake, learning what their actual sleep cues are. Usually it's like rubbing eyes, pulling hair, getting a bit fussy. Some babies hiccup. Mason would hiccup when he was getting really tired. So just learning what your baby's cues are. For Landon, he rubs his eyes, he'll start like pulling at his hair. He'll also start shaking his head back and forth if he's like lying on the ground or something like that. But when he's doing that, I know like, oh, we're like real close to his breaking point. So that's when I'm like, go, we gotta get him to bed. Go, go, go. So yeah, just learning what your baby's cues are for when they're tired and recognizing them and getting them to wherever they're sleeping within like 20 minutes, I would. My third tip is to swaddle your baby. If you have a baby who is really overtired and you have a really hard time getting them to calm down to take a nap, which is something that I struggled with Landon. He would get just really like hyped up and agitated, and it was just really hard to get him to calm down. I found swaddling really helpful in getting him to calm down, just because it kind of, you know, brings his arms in. He feels cozy. I had actually stopped swaddling him when he was starting to roll over from his stomach to his back, and he was fine. But after we went on vacation, came back, he was just very agitated whenever I would try to get him to take a nap, just because with all the travel and everything, the schedules were all messed up, kind of got overtired again. So I started swaddling him again. Nothing too like crazy tight, just because he has been used to being able to move around, but just enough for when I initially lay him down that he feels kind of like cozy and compact and not like all over the place. And I found like that has helped to get him to sleep well, or stretches again. And yeah, I'm not like fully swaddling him where he can't get out. It's just enough that he just feels wrapped and like cozy. If you have stopped swaddling, it may be something that you want to try again, just as more as a comfort thing. I only really do it now for when he goes down first for his nighttime sleep. Naps, I'm not really doing it anymore. Unless he's like really fighting a nap, then I'll like wrap him up, and that tends to like put him out. So tip number 4 is to throw conventional rules about baby sleep out the window. So anything like don't feed to sleep, don't have them sleeping in your bed, basically any like rules you might have read that are supposed to help get your baby into a better sleep routine. I would say proceed with caution with those, especially if you are really struggling getting your baby to sleep. Do what you need to do to get them to sleep, because I was very much of, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I have to follow these rules in order to get him on a better routine, and trying to stick to certain rules just really stressed me out, and I think made it harder on both of us. So I would say just do what feels natural to you. If that means feeding your baby to sleep a few times, feed your baby to sleep a few times. They need sleep in order to develop. You need sleep in order to be a present and caring parent. I would say any like kind of rules that you've read that you shouldn't do, to just kind of put those to the side and do what you feel is natural and that would help both of you guys get some sleep. And finally, tip number 5, don't be afraid to ask for help. I know for me, I tend to let my pride get in the way, and I'm like, no, I'll figure it out myself, I'll do it myself. Rawr! I've learned from this that it is immensely better if you get some help, whether it's from your partner, whether it's from family members. You can have a friend come over so you can nap while they like hang out with your little one, or alternate night duties with your partner. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to ask for a little help, especially in the early days when sleep is really, really erratic. We had family come and visit, and I'm pretty sure I would just like leave the kids and be like, I'm gonna go take a nap. And I would just go take a nap and leave them with the kids. Like, sorry, I just haven't slept in days. Don't be afraid to get some help. I think that's it. And that's pretty much it, you guys. That's what I did to kind of help get landed into a better sleep routine. Like I was saying throughout the video, we are not 100% there. I don't think you can ever really get 100% there, to be honest. He's still waking up 2 to 3 times in the night. I know there's like a lot of other mommy vloggers or mommy Instagrammers, and they seem to like have it all worked out with their kids in terms of like sleep and whatnot, but I'm pretty sure we're all struggling when it comes to sleep. It's never gonna be like 100% perfect. Like I said at the beginning of this video, last night was kind of rough. It's really just like, you know, a roller coaster ride. You have your highs, you have your good days, you have your bad days. You can go a few weeks that are pretty good, and then you have like a few days where you're like, ugh, why? I really hope some things in this video, if not help, at least give you a little bit of encouragement. You can get through it. What else can I say in closing? Yeah, I just really hope that some of this was helpful to you. If it was, definitely give me a like. Yeah. And if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more of our family and mommy tips and things that I have accrued in my short time as a mom, definitely subscribe. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye.